Sioux Falls, and welcome to Planning Preview for the month of January. My name is Jason Bieber with the Planning Office at the City of Sioux Falls, and joining me again is Karla with the Planning Office.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, Karla. It's nice to have you on again here and getting to almost the end of the year. It's going to be our first meeting of 2025. Can you believe that?
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yeah, so we've got actually, I think, quite a few items for January Planning Commission. Usually people are hibernating by now, but let's get right into them. So
yeah, let's do it. 6 items.
Yeah, there are. So the first one here, I think we talked a little bit about this, but we had to kind of defer it for a little bit to figure a couple more things out. But we've got that future land use amendment up in the northeast part of the city for the new Mapleton Golf Course, correct?
That's right. The applicant is able to provide sewer services now, so they are moving from the 25-year over to the 1 to 5 year development plan.
So there'll be tier 1, and then would be their next step after that then, once they if this gets approved?
If this gets approved, then they would be able to annex into the city of Sioux Falls, and then of course they would be assigned a zone, and then they would be able to plat the lots and start developing.
Yeah, because then they'll have that golf course, and I know the future plans, and probably as soon as the golf course is done, is to do a bunch of high-end residential lots up there. So that'll be kind of another cool development within the city now.
Yeah, so we'd still be back on this topic at the annexation and rezone petition. So stay tuned on this one.
Yeah, there'll be more to come.
Yes.
Right? Next here we've got, looks like rezoning out here on 69th and Southeastern, just some office to a commercial. I think it's just to the east of the new Harrisburg Middle School.
Yep, sounds like the developer would find this a little bit more marketable, especially with the school right across the street. Yeah. Maybe a commercial entity would move in there and help serve the school. Trying
to get them junior high kids to spend all their allowance over here?
Yep.
Gotcha. That's what my kids would do. Then we've got, it looks like out at Dolly Farm Village, this looks like this is just north of the new state campus out there. Looks like we're going from commercial to some high density apartments.
Yep, they will be doing apartments out there. And with this development, they'll actually extend part of the roadway to the linear park that would run through there. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that'll be nice to get some more people out there. You know, we'll get a lot of people working now with the state's one-stop shop with a number of employees, but what's the great part of getting people, and then the 2 Lloyd developments to the west, getting people that live out there, that's really what's going to drive those retail services like restaurants and different things out there like that. So
that's right.
This is a great new use there, and hopefully sometime we can get that linear park all the way done, and it'll kind of be a nice little asset.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Next here we've got some live work to RT2 townhome residential. This looks like it's kind of south of 57th Street and west of Veterans Parkway, kind of the southeast side of the city. Looks like they're going to RT2. What would be the difference then? They look like they're doing townhomes, but what does RT2 get them?
So that's right. They'll be able to do townhomes and then sell off each lot, because then they would do the property lines further down the line, and it'll look much like the rest of the neighborhood. There's already a similar concept to the west of the development.
And then they're really looking at this because of the reduction in kind of the front yards?
The front yards get a reduction, and so do the side yards.
Okay. So they go to the 20-foot, which is, I think we've talked to this developer, and some of these developers really allows them to maybe get another unit or two, and hopefully that can drive down some of the costs for a lot of these townhome type developments, since in theory those are kind of the first time home buyers now. Right. Townhomes. People can't afford just a single family house when they're just starting out, right?
I hear ya.
Next year we've got some I-1 going to apartments over here. I think this is the old Gage Brothers site, right? We've seen a ton of retail development. I think Northern Tool, another car wash that we need, right?
Yep.
And a coffee shop. Yeah, Starbucks that you need. But yes. This would be going just kind of south of there, getting some more residential out there.
More residential units out here, and then they will plan on providing adequate paths to the bus stop to the north there. So
Yep.
look for that at the start of the year.
Yeah, we've already got some residential to the east here, so this is kind of a good little fit with the existing retail that's along 12th and the interstate. So this is kind of
Right.
a good transition. So
Take advantage of those amenities.
yeah, that's right. And then our last one here, we've got initial development plan amendment for Firehouse 42. This is kind of that unique development that's on 12th and Ellis in the northeast corner, correct?
Right. So the big takeaway here is that they'll be realigning some of the street connection in there, and that there's a potential for an addition for the multi-tenant use, which would have the on-sale beer and wine. So adding that as a use allowed within the PUD. And then this is because the daycare that's located within proximity. But
Yep.
when they signed that agreement, they were aware of that coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, and this is great, just continuing to see that development go, because it's a little bit more unique than what we've done with the lake in behind it to the north
Right.
of that. That once you continue to get them retail, hopefully we can get kind of that boardwalk style they're talking about. I like seeing that continuing to kind of develop on the west side of the city. So
More amenities.
well, it looks like that's it for this month, but really appreciate you coming on the show.
You bet. Thank you.
And stay tuned, Sioux Falls. After the break, we're going to have Kevin Hoekman with the Minnehaha County Planning Office. He's going to come talk about the Envision 2045 comprehensive plan. It'd be their comprehensive plan that they're doing for Minnehaha County. So stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Brent, and I'm a housing specialist for the city of Sioux Falls, and I'm out here with Kelly, property maintenance manager for the city. We're out here on this snowy day, and we're here to talk about sidewalks. So Kelly, why do we need to clean the sidewalks?
Well, many people use the sidewalks for transportation, kids getting to school. You know, some people, elderly, disabled, or for whatever reason, they go to grocery stores or to work, they need a safe place to travel as well.
So we use about 2 feet of space. Do we only need to scoop a path, or do we have to go side to side?
Go the entire width of the sidewalk, edge to edge, and that way it's, ADA accessible for those in wheelchairs.
Okay. Today, I don't know if we're going to get 2 inches of snow, but do we have to wait till 2 inches, or do you have to start scooping right away?
No, you have to clear your sidewalk after any snow or ice event, and that's, within 48 hours after that event, we need that cleared off.
Well, thanks, Kelly. Well, if you're out scooping your snow and you see that your neighbor's house needs sidewalks scooped as well, do the neighborly thing and help your neighbor out.
If you'd like to see if one of our city programs can help you out, call 367-8180 or check us out online at siouxfalls.org.
Welcome back to Planning Preview for the month of January. Joining me now is Kevin Hoekman with the Minnehaha County Planning Office. Appreciate you coming on the show. We've talked a little bit this year about our comprehensive plan we're doing for the city, but you guys are also pretty much getting close to finishing up your comprehensive plan, correct?
Yeah, we're wrapping things up. It's been about 10 years since we did the original 2035 comprehensive plan, so we're doing about a 10-year update for that.
And that's then, so you're saying that it's going to be the 2045, and you guys are calling it Envision, correct? Same name as the 2035, correct?
Yes, correct. We're going to be keeping the Envision 2045 name, and it's going to be a similar format, same format, and running through just updates.
So talk a little bit, I know we were able to attend some of your public input sessions that you had. Where did you all go, and what kind of feedback did you get with those public input sessions?
Yeah, we had public input sessions in Brandon, Del Rapids, and in Hartford. We had a pretty good turnout, especially in Hartford. There was a lot of people there. And the sessions, the feedback we got were pretty positive in general. Some things were concerns about residential building in the county, but I think overall people were generally pleased with the plan going forward.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was able to attend the one in Hartford, and which is kind of funny. I did it for the 2045 and actually attended the one you guys did for 2035 in Hartford 10 years ago. But I agree, you had a lot of participation, maybe 35 people there or so.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And a lot of good feedback from people. So yeah, I appreciate when people actually show up to those type of things. So like you talked about, so this isn't maybe as extensive of a comprehensive plan update as maybe we're doing in Sioux Falls. We're doing a little bit more of a rewrite. Yours is maybe more, would you call it like an update type thing?
Yeah, I would call it an update. We're keeping the chapters basically the same. We're keeping a lot of the formatting the same and maybe updating the data throughout the comprehensive plan, and then introducing just a few topics primarily revolving around residential.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things that I really noticed that maybe were the difference from the 2035 to the 2045 is you kind of had emphasis on accessory dwelling units, possibly allowing some of those as we get kind of that older population and people want to not only have the, we call them granny in-laws, flats, or whatever you want to call them, or people with just extra income. And then the other thing, possibly allowing a little bit more residential or allowing the grouping of building eligibility is a little bit easier. Talk a little bit about, why you guys had that idea or why you are kind of proposing maybe that as part of the comprehensive plan.
Sure. I'll start with the transfer in of building eligibilities. In the county, we have roughly one housing building eligibility for every 40 acres. Okay. And currently, we allow those building eligibilities to be transferred from one property to another. Those transfers have to be on properties that are adjacent to each other and under the same ownership. The new comprehensive plan is looking at making an update to allow that transfer to happen between two different property owners. We got a lot of questions in the county on interest in doing that. Maybe a property owner has more land than what they need, or they want somebody else they know to live nearby them. Yeah. We get a lot of questions that are similar to that, and this would allow that process to go through.
So if you did change it between, like, if I have a building eligibility and you have a building eligibility, and I want your building eligibility, then how do you actually get that? Do they sell them? Or how does that work?
Sure. So from the county's perspective, it's going to be a conditional use permit. So transfers now are already a conditional use permit. So there's a public hearing with it. That'll continue to be part of it. The agreement kind of behind the scenes will be between the two property owners if they're selling it or if it's just going to be a transfer outright.
Oh, so you can do either, it just happens, okay. Yeah, and we've typically, and I think, honestly, that was one of the things I think was a really good idea that you guys are doing, because with our joint jurisdiction area, which obviously isn't the entire county, but the area is kind of around the city, we've always supported the transfer of the building eligibilities. Essentially, we're not making the county any more dense, we're just moving them around. So it seems like it's a good idea to be able to allow it to be a little bit easier if people want to move them here or there,
Yes, and we maintain the 1 acre yard requirements as well throughout the county. So it will make kind of clusters and pockets of residential in the areas.
So then the other thing that I talked a little bit about at the beginning, the accessory dwelling units, granny flats, whatever you want to call them, was that something that you guys felt pressure from people wanting to do those in the county, or just kind of you guys maybe being a little proactive and thinking people will want to do those?
Yes, a little bit of both. We do get that call every now and then about allowing somebody to live on the property. Oftentimes it's kids in our case that don't have a place to find. Housing's expensive. Yeah. So allowing an accessory dwelling unit might be a cheaper alternative for now to put an extra property or house on the property. And also we were looking at it kind of proactively. Seeing the trends throughout the nation, you see accessory dwelling units. AARP has a lot of materials for accessory dwelling units and been leading that throughout the country. So.
Yeah, we were, like I talked to a little bit about, we're getting those baby boomers, or where they're, you know, they want to live with their kids or they have to go in assisted living, and we all know assisted living and senior living, that stuff's super expensive. So it's another option for families to have to be able to provide that care with somebody close like that. So I think that's great that you're allowing that. So what's your timeline then for the conference? What are the next steps now that you've kind of gotten all the public input aspect of it, and I'm assuming you have it pretty much written? Is that correct statement?
Yes, we have it pretty much written. The Planning Commission has heard the comprehensive plan and reviewed it, and the Planning Commission has actually adopted it in the recommended approval for the County Commission.
Okay.
So the next step will be that the County Commission will need to set a hearing date. They'll likely set that date somewhere early in January for some time later, late January, early February is what we're looking at for adoption.
And then they'd go with the recommendation of the Planning Commission for approval.
Yep.
Did you have any public input then at the Planning Commission meeting with the comprehensive plan, or did everybody kind of give their thoughts at those public events that you had?
Yeah, most of the thoughts we had were at the public events, as well as an online survey that we received as well.
That's great. That's nice to know that you don't, you've got kind of everything incorporated already. Something big doesn't come up and you can kind of go through pretty smooth. So I think you guys did a really good job with the public meetings and letting people kind of voice what things they'd like to see. And you guys had that residential task force too previous to this to give an idea of maybe what developers, builders, and just residents of the county want to see maybe in the county, correct?
Correct. The residential task force was a big part of the planning for this update. We met several times with a group of stakeholders from the county, the rural area farmers, people who are just living there in acreages, as well as developers throughout the county that formed up that residential task force. So yeah, that was a big part of planning.
And was it a pretty good consensus, ideas coming out of there to possibly support a little bit more residential subdivisions within the county?
Yes, and that's where the ideas were kind of narrowed to the three ideas, that transferring of the dwellings. We discussed that at great length. The accessory dwelling units were discussed less because it was kind of like, yeah, let's go with that. And then we also discussed residential criteria for new developments in the county. That was discussed a little bit more and kind of debated over into that task force. As we pulled out kind of the key findings of trying to allow development while not hamstringing future development is kind of where our plan was.
It's good. So that you thought tentatively would be approved end of January, middle or beginning of February. So then if the council, or sorry, not council, that's ours, the county commission would approve that, then what are the next steps? Do you have a lot of stuff you'd have to update in the zoning ordinance? Do you feel like there'd be a lot of modifications to that?
Sure. So the next steps after approval with the residential criteria, that will be a policy thing that is written in the comprehensive plan, and the commission will use that to guide decisions. But the transfer of building eligibilities and the accessory dwelling units will take ordinance amendments. The transfer of building eligibilities will be fairly simple since that's already part of our ordinance, where incorporating accessory dwelling units will take more time and probably a little more discussion between the staff and the Planning Commission going forward.
Well, hopefully you won't get, with that being in the comprehensive plan and already people being able to look at it and provide comments for accessory dwelling units, and finding that most people are supportive and you put it in the comprehensive plan when it comes to actually going the zoning ordinance, hopefully there's not huge hurdles with it, right? Because you want to get involved at the comprehensive plan stage as a resident of the county, and then because you have more say, right? But then once you continue to move up that ladder talking about the zoning ordinance and then conditional, you have less say as a resident. So hopefully people that had issues or wanted to provide comments got those in really with the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, I hope that that's the case too, that the issues and potential concerns were addressed in the planning and the meetings that we had. So
would it be moving forward then your guys' idea to kind of update it every 10 years or figure out maybe 10 years from now, maybe it needs to be a major overhaul, or maybe it could just be another update?
Yeah, I guess we haven't quite looked that far ahead.
You just got almost done.
We just got done with this, but I would assume, yes, in about 10 years, we'd at least have an update, if not needing a full overhaul, depending on how growth seems to be working. These 3 changes with residential may surprise us. Maybe there'll be other things that'll come about with the new plan.
Yeah, and that's the good thing. You are able to do that, and then 10 years from now, or whenever that time is, you can kind of say, hey, this is working, this isn't working, or maybe trends have changed, right? Maybe we're moving to this thing. So I think that's great. Maybe I'll have you on here in 10 years from now, too, if we're both still working for the city and the county. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Kevin, and really talking about that. It just was perfect timing that you guys were updating yours, and obviously we're updating ours. Ours is a little bit behind you guys are looking first of the year to be done with yours. Ours is probably more like fall of 2025. So I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for joining us for Planning Preview for the month of January. Just a reminder, this month's meeting is actually on Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. Because of the holiday on Wednesday, we are on Thursday, January 2nd, 2025 at 6 o'clock at the Carnegie Town Hall. And as always, we allow public comment for any of the items we discussed here today. And we do also have that 5-minute comment period at the end of the agenda to talk about anything planning related. Thanks and have a great day.